Is it fair to say that One Piece has the best time skip in anime? Typically, when it comes to battle shonen, just about every series has them, but I'd say that some are more impactful than others. I also do believe that sometimes as a community, we look at a time skip as only, hey, these characters, they became stronger. Which, yes, I do think that's important, and don't get me wrong, I wish Usopp would have come back weak as hell like he was pre-time skip. I would have kicked him out the crew my damn self. But I also think that another aspect about a time skip that's really important includes the character's personality, like their motives or how locked in they are after the time skip based off their reasons for taking the time to train in the first place. In the state of the world, how did it change for either the better or the worse during the time skip? Some anime that have had time skips include Naruto, Fairy Tail, Dragon Ball, Attack on Titan, Black Clover. As I mentioned, typically it happens with a lot of battle shonen. Not just because this is a One Piece video, but whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, I've seen so many people that typically say that One Piece had the best time skip. But within the One Piece community, I'd say there's a little bit of discourse on whether or not people prefer the pre or post time skip, and today I want to talk a little bit about the state of the time skip and just talk about different common gripes or praises that I've seen within the community. So why did the time skip happen? I think most of us are going to jump straight into Ace's death, and yes, I think that is the final straw, but there were plenty of reasons before we got to that point, circling back all the way to Sabaody, how the crew had lost to Kizaru, Cinnamaro, and the Pacifista at Enies Lobby. That was the first time that the Straw Hats had gotten power-ups, and we thought those would be enough. Well, 2 arcs later, the Straw Hats, they were utterly defeated. As captain, we saw Luffy throw a little kid tantrum, rightfully so. Luffy, he was powerless and couldn't do anything but watch tragically as his crew was taken away from him. Then he traveled to Amazon Lily, where he used Bullet Hancock to sneak into Impel Down. Once he got there, Luffy was constantly fighting without any rest, got defeated by Magellan, was healed, and I put that in quotes because I guess technically Ivankov didn't exactly take away any of the damage. Ivankov just allowed Luffy to continue to fight. Fast forward to Marineford, and Luffy fought even more against people that were clearly stronger and outclassed him to the point of exhaustion, and utterly was one of the reasons that Ace had to sacrifice himself. Seeing all of this and experiencing it firsthand was why Luffy decided that he needed to train and why the time skip happened. Luffy had it worst, of course, but the rest of the crew, they noticed where they were lacking and wanted to grow stronger as well. I think what makes One Piece's time skip so special is not only did they notice the type of enemies that they would face and the strength they needed against it, they also wanted to improve for the sake of their friends, specifically their captain, so that they won't ever be a hindrance from here on. And the same goes for Luffy, how he wanted to gain strength to be able to protect anyone and everyone that he cared about. And most of the time when it comes to series that have time skip before a tragedy, that's typically whenever it takes place, but One Piece is the complete opposite. And before people take this out of context, I said not every series, but a lot of them. While the Straw Hats were training, the world didn't remain static, which is cool because that's probably what One Piece is the best at. It's world building. I'm not going to list all the events because that would take forever, but I'll list a few that drastically affected the story. For example, like Aokiji versus Akainu, where Akainu became the fleet admiral, and Aokiji eventually went on to join the Blackbeard Pirates. And during that time, with all the loss of manpower because of the Marineford War, that caused a military draft, and Fujitora and Green Bullet, they became admirals. And also Marine headquarters was moved to the New World. The Payback War was the remnants of the Whitebeard Pirates versus the Blackbeard Pirates, and Teach and his crew were the victors, and this is how he ended up becoming an Emperor of the Sea. New warlords like Weevil, Buggy, and Law, who was also involved in the Rocky Port incident with Blackbeard, and Kobe, how he gained the title of a hero. Some quick hits include Sabo regaining his memory, Kid losing his arm to Ben Beckman, and Big Mom taking over protecting Fishman Island, and also the Sun Pirates and the Fire Tank Pirates serving under her. Just in this short amount of time, the world changed drastically, and the Straw Hats, they didn't even need to be involved, which showcases how good at world building Oda is. But if you made it this far into the video and you're enjoying the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. I put out content each and every day. What I can agree with most people is how the comedy pre-time skip was way better compared to post-time skip, especially in the dub. I usually don't like watching One Piece in dub. I think dub is terrible, but for the funny moments pre-time skip, oh, it makes it 10 times funnier. And that's why for me, I personally love the start to Elbaf, because it starts off with the OG crew members and it definitely had the comedy that we experienced pre-time skip. I will say I am a little bit glad that the comedy has died down just a little bit. You could make the argument because we've gotten different crew members, which means there's going to be less screen time for others, which is true. And I also don't necessarily love it whenever a lot of people say, hey, add this person to your crew, or hey, let's get another crew member, because that just means that the characters that we love, we're not going to see them as much because they have to share the spotlight more. But I like that comedy is not as prevalent in the new world, because as Zoro said, they're in the new world. Not that it was all fun and games pre-time skip, because the Straw Hats, they definitely had their challenges, but they were an up and coming crew that were a bunch of kids. So yeah, them being goofy all the time and not being as serious, that made a lot of sense. However, after being separated and all the struggles and hardships that they went through, you could understand why the tone is more serious than the first half of the journey, which isn't to say that we don't have any comedy post-time skip, because we do, but like I said, it's just not as much as we did pre-time skip. To me, I just don't think it would be as fitting, since the story shifted to where the Straw Hats are getting more serious and trying to survive the new world and achieve their dream. Haki's also been a big discussion within the community. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm one of those that love Haki because, well, if it wasn't a thing, some of these devil fruits would be too damn broken. It's also not like Haki was pulled out of Oda's ass or anything. It was always included since the beginning of the story. It's just been showcased more now because we're dealing with a lot more top tier characters. The controversy with Haki is sometimes it's really hard to tell when people are using it and when they're not, and you could say that it's not really consistent. I'm not really gonna get into that rabbit hole because I've already made plenty of videos about it. But yeah, if you compare to other power systems, I definitely say it has the potential to be better, but because of the consistency, it's not the most loved power system like, for example, Nen. I don't care if you're going to say that Haki made the series worse, because guess what? You're a liar, because you see different things like people fighting in the future, as well as people fighting without even touching each other, or seeing different conquerors clashes. You mean to tell me y'all ain't trying to see that? Cause guess what? I'm all here for it. I think that One Piece's time skip was done exceptionally well, especially that the Straw Hats didn't showcase all of their new powers immediately after the time skip, and it took a few arcs before the new techniques and power-ups started happening, because well, I can confidently say in a lot of other series, everybody went all out as soon as their first battle was out of the time skip. I think that both the pre and post time skip were definitely needed, as one established their crew and everything they wanted to achieve, and then the second half showcased the crew's growth. And for those of you that don't like the post time skip, well, more than half of the series is going to take place there with Elbaf, Lodestar, Laughdale, and the final war. And I guess technically right now, since there's only like 1133 chapters out, if you were to say that you like the pre-time skip, well, it's more than half the series, I think by about 60, so you're safe until probably next year. But yeah, let me know which one you guys prefer, if you like pre-time skip more, if you like post-time skip, or if you like them equally. Personally, I think I technically like post-time skip a little bit more, and that's because some of my favorite arcs, I think 3 out of 5 of my top 5 are in the post-time skip, so technically I guess you could say I like it more, but I like both of them. I think they're both definitely needed for the story. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.